Hello everyone. In this lesson I am going to show you how to use different types of counters in PLC programming in two different languages, Ladder Logic and SCL. Imagine we have got a conveyor belt and there is a sensor at one point which detects every single object that is passing through the sensor. So we are going to write a PLC program to count how many objects are passing through the proximity sensor. So to save the times, I have already created my default tag table. So in the default tag table, I have got 5 inputs from I0.0 to I0.4. So the first input is my reset button. I am going to show you all the inputs and outputs. So the first input, I0.0, is my reset button. The second input, I0.1, is my proximity sensor. The third one, proximity sensor number 2. And then another input which is called the load input. I will show you in programming what the load input is for. And also I've got a start button. 4 memory words, as you see here. And as I am using counters in two different languages, Ladder Logic and SCL, so I had to provide preset counter number 1, preset counter number 2, one for Ladder Logic, one for SCL, and also the same for counter values. And I've got two outputs, output number 1, which is Q0.1, and output number 2, which is Q0.2. Okay. So we need to provide this default tag table, and now we can go into the OB1 and try to apply different type of counters. So where we can find all the counters, if we click on the instruction here, and then right below the timer operations you can see the counter operations. If you click on that, you can see there are 3 different type of counters, as you see here. Counter up, CTU, and then counter down, CTD, and also counter up and down. So at the moment I am going to use counter up. So when you drag and drop the block into your PLC programming, it asks you how you want to address it. Do you want to be addressed automatically or manually? If you want to address it manually, you can click on the manual and then address it manually, but at the moment I don't need it, so I just want it to be addressed automatically. So that's my counter up in Ladder Logic. So now I need a proximity sensor here that will detect the object and send the signal to the counter. So I use a normally open switch, and I am going to use my proximity sensor number 1 at this point. So as soon as it detects this, an object, it will send a signal to count up. And then I've got a reset button, so anytime I want to reset my counter, I can do it manually. Preset value. So imagine we want the counter to set an output high when it reaches to a preset value. So I can either put a constant number, for example 6. So when the counter reaches to 6, it will set my output high. So I'm going to put the output here at the moment. So that's going to be my output number 1. And then the count value I have already created a memory word for my count value, which counter value number 1. So we need a memory word for our count value. I'm going to go back to the default tag table and show you here. So for counter value, I need a memory word, and it includes 16 bits, and it's basically showing the count value, which is in integer. So 16 bits or 1 word space in memory is enough to save the integer numbers. And now if we go back to the programming, if I download the program, and load it to the PLC, and now if we monitor the program at this point, so now if I activate my input sensor, which is I0.1, you can see the counter starts counting up. And in the counter value, it will show where the counter is up to. So number 2, 3, 4, 5. My preset value for the counter is 6. As soon as it reaches to this value, the output will turn on. Okay. And anytime that I want to reset the counter manually or automatically by this input address I0.0, I can simply reset the counter. But if we want to change the preset value for the counter, it's better to not use a constant number. So in this case, I am going to use my preset counter. Okay, so at this point, now if I download the program again, I need to go offline first. So now if I download my program again, so if I monitor this, right. So at the moment there is no preset value, but actually it's on 7 at the moment. But what I can do, I can change the preset value to any value that I want. And the value that you write here is in hexadecimal. So for example, I want it to be set for 9. I press OK. Now you can see it changed to 9. So now if you trick the input, the proximity sensor, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. As soon as it reaches to 9, you can see the output turns on. So now we learned how to use a counter op in basically ladder logic. Now I want to show you how to use this counter in SCL language. So I turn the monitor off, and let's delete this network and create another network in SCL language. Okay. So it's so simple in SCL. It's quite similar to what we've done in ladder. However, the format is different. So we go for the counters. Again, we drag and drop in a counter into network number 2, which is in SCL language. Again, we want it to be addressed automatically. Okay. So now, same as what we have in ladder logic, we have it in SCL language. So we've got the counter up, as you see here. Okay, it needs an input, which I'm going to use as proximity sensor number 2. or also still I can use proximity sensor number 1. There's no difference. So proximity sensor, let's use number 2 here. And then I've got a reset button, as you see here. I've got a reset here as well. So for the reset, if you double click on this and then start with a quotation mark, as I am using global addresses, so my addresses always start with a quotation mark. So it's going to be reset button. Okay. And then we've got preset value, same as here. I've got a preset value here. So this time I'm going to use preset counter number 2. I cannot use the same preset counter because there will be a clash in memory words. So I use global address preset counter number 2, and then output, I used output number 1 here. I'm going to use output number 2 at this point. Actually, I didn't start with the quotation mark. That's why it's not showing me the addresses. So that's output number 2. And then I've got my count value. The count value is going to be, starts with a quotation mark and then counter value number 2. So everything is sorted. For preset value, here I can use a constant number if it's not going to change. But if I want to change the preset counter or preset value of the counter, when the program is running, I have to use a memory word. So I cannot use a constant number in that case. So now we can download the program into the PLC and load it. And now if you monitor the program, okay. So here I have got proximity sensor number 2, which is the input for my counter in SCL language. I've got a reset button. Both of them are false at the moment. And I've got a preset value, which I am going to set it for example, 8. And then output number 2, which is false at the moment because the preset value is not reached at the moment. Counter value is 0 because it's not detected any object so far. So now I am going to activate the proximity sensor number 2, which is I0.2 at this case. So now when it's detect an object, you can see the count value starts counting up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So far the output is false. Basically, it's not true. As soon as the count value reaches the preset value that we defined at the beginning, the output will turn on. So it needs one more time. And now the output turns on. So we can see how to use a counter in 2 different languages, in Ladder Logic and SCL programming. Now I want to show you different type of counters that we've got in PLC programming. So far we used only counter up. Now I'm going to show you how to use a counter down. You either can go to the instruction and drag and drop a counter down, or you can change the current counter if you want to test it and change it to counter down. So we've got a load value input at this point in counter down is a little bit different counter down with counter up. So counter up obviously counts up, counter down will count down. So now I have got another input which called load input. As soon as you trigger this input, it will set the counter to the preset value. I will show you now, and now I want to download this program and test the counter down and show you how it is working. Okay, now it's monitored and the preset value is on number 9. So when it reaches, so you can see the counter is already on 9, which is the preset value. So every time that the sensor detects an object, it will count down. And when it reaches to 0, the output will turn on. So now I want to show you when the sensor detects an object, by the rising edge, it starts to count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So, and now if I press the load input, which is I 0.3 at this case, it will go back to the preset value. So it works basically same as reset button in counter up. So now I want to show you another counter, which is counter up and down. So I want to show you a scenario when we are going to use a counter up and down. Imagine, for example, we have got a car park and it has got one entrance and one exit. And on each entrance and exit, we have got a separate sensor. Sensor 1 is on the entrance, so it detects any car that is entering to the car park. And I've got sensor number 2, which is going to detect any car that is going out from the car park. So we are going to write a PLC program to count how many cars are in this car park. So it's very simple by applying a counter up and down for this scenario. So we have got 2 sensors. Sensor number 1 is in the entrance. So when any cars enters to the car park, it counts up. And I've got another sensor, which is going to be my sensor number 2. I have a reset button, so anytime that I want to reset the counter manually, I can. And then I've got the load input, which brings my basically counter to the preset value. I've got the reset button, also preset value at this point, so I can define the preset value here. And then let's say output number 2 is going to be for my count, for my output down. Okay, so now if I download this program to the PLC, and monitor the program, so here simply we can basically test this type of counter. As there is no preset, so actually there is a preset value of 9, so when it reaches to 9, the output will go high. So I am going to reset the counter at the moment. So when it's reset, when you reset the counter, it will go back to 0. So anytime the input number 1, which is connected to counter up, triggers, the counter starts count up. So, and when the counter is 0, it's not started yet. You can see the counter down output. Sorry, the output down is high. So now I am going to activate my proximity sensor number 1. So you can see it counts up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So far 7 cars are entered into the car park. Okay? Because only sensor 1 was detecting. So 7 cars are in the car park at the moment. Any cars that goes out, it deducts from this number. It counts down. So I 0.2, I am going to treat this input now, the sensor number 2. So you can see the counter starts counting down when the car exiting the car park. So far 5 cars are in the car park. So when it reaches to its maximum value, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the output, a specific output will turn on. So the maximum value can be the maximum of numbers of cars that can fit into the car park. So then it will trigger an output which it doesn't let any cars to enter to the car park anymore. Thanks for watching this video. I think you can try counter up and down and counter down in SCL language on your own now.